What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We are back. Chris Meaney and the Eric Young here with you. Dangle Bet Celly live at FTN, presented by PointsBet. Appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out. It's been a minute since we've been together. The last time we chatted, you guaranteed a Leafs W, which you got right in the opening round. So it's been a minute since we've been together. We appreciate you guys hanging around with us. Without any episode, you have any comments, any questions, you can leave them in the comments section. You can reach out at Chris Meaney, at the Eric Young on Twitter, Mean Streets FTN at gmail.com. And if you are listening on iTunes and Spotify, rate, review, subscribe, and pop on over to our YouTube page and hang out with us. EY, man, it's good to have you back. Middle of May here. We got two games to discuss tonight. We have the Edmonton Oilers down 2-1 against the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks still seem to have Edmonton's number. That series has been nasty, and it got nasty at the end of it. And then we have the Boston Bruins up against the Florida Panthers, 3-1 here for our Panthers. And then last night, Dallas taking a 3-1 series lead against the Colorado Avalanche. The best road team in hockey went into Colorado and took both games against the Avs. And then the Carolina Hurricanes snuck out a victory, and all of a sudden we got a series between the Hurricanes and the Rangers, 3-2. So welcome back in. Like I said, it's been a minute since we've chatted. What's your biggest takeaways of what you've seen so far in the playoffs?
I mean, the hockey's been awesome. As much as I've been able to watch, I've consumed, obviously, a bunch of super heavy real-world stuff. I'll address that slightly at the end of the show. This is maybe not the time or the place for any of that, but I'm back. Hockey's been a massive kind of release and distraction for me. I haven't had access to all of it, but I've watched as much as I can, and the hockey's been awesome. What I can tell you has not been awesome is the majority of the officiating. I don't like saying that. I don't gain anything by saying that. I'm insulting this product that I love because officiating is part of the NHL. But I mean, there's been some real weird stuff on all sides. Like, there's no bias. It's just hasn't been great. The physicality of the playoffs, I feel, it's been more intense than I can remember it being. And like, there's some real hate in some of these series, which makes them super entertaining. Some really great hockey being played. You said you're in a bit of a slump. I'm in a bit of a slump. This is going to happen in sports betting. But the truth is taking the sting away, that has been, getting some of the sides right. Dallas is the Green Hulk smash machine right now. Like, we've been talking about them all year. And, the moves of bringing up Stankoven, Wyatt Johnson, I think as of today, can buy a beer finally in the United States.
Turned 21 today.
And he's, good God, it just doesn't even make sense how good of a player he is at that age. And I mean, it doesn't make sense to be as good as he is all over the ice, not at just one thing. And anyways, it's been great, the hockey, but I think today we need to turn it around, buddy.
We do. I don't think so far there's been too many surprises. It was a pretty chalky first round. In fact, all of the favorites won the first round. I think as a show, we did pretty well. I know me personally, I was on the Jets, but the two teams that we've been riding all year long, the preseason prediction of the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup, jumping on the Florida Panthers in the first month of the season when we saw the value when they were without Brendan Montour and Sam Bennett. Matthew Tkachuk wasn't 100%, Aaron Ekblad, things like that. Those two teams look legit. So from a side standpoint and from an overall picture of, I think a lot of people in the Dangle Bet Celly bracket have a Florida and Dallas Stanley Cup final. So we'll see how this shapes up. We can get ahead of ourselves here, but those two teams are one win away from getting to the conference finals and the semifinals. I want to say what up to the crew and kind of highlight on a couple things that you said. Adam Szymanski's in the house. Welcome in. Troy, let's go. What up? How about Chris Mason in the house here this morning? Watching Dangle Bet Celly, our guy. Yes, Chris Mason, absolute stud. What's up, fellas? Welcome in, Mason. Robbie Hockey, good morning to everyone. But stat corrections, we've really been on the wrong side of a lot of these. I don't want to make any excuses, but Robbie, it has been tough. At moments last night, we thought we had 5 shots for Nathan McKinnon. We thought we had 3 shots for Cale Makar. The statisticians, I don't want to say that they're not doing a good job. It's just the past couple of seasons, like anything that was a 50-50, shot, they would just give it to, if there's a shot towards the goal and a goalie made the save and it was 50-50, and I'm saying 50-50 as if the puck was on net or it was going wide and the goalie stopped it, made a save, they would just chalk that up as a shot. They're not doing that now. I watched with my own 2 eyes last night, 5 shots from Nathan McKinnon, 5 saves from Jake Ottinger. I saw the shot that they reversed. Man, it looked like a toe save. I don't know if Mason can step in and say something in the comments. He has a lot of experience making these saves. But, dude, if you make a save, to me, that is a save. I don't care if that's going wide or not. There was a moment last night in the game where Jake Ottinger's in the center of the ice, the middle of the ice. He made a left toe pad save. It hit his toe directly in the middle of the ice. McKinnon kind of shot it from the hash marks, a little bit between the corner and the hash marks on the left side of the rink. Ottinger kicks out the pad, makes the save, initially counted as a shot, taken away as a shot. My only thinking is that puck was going wide, maybe, but how could they even make that judgment? I know it is a judgment call, but it just seems really... Anyways, we've been on the wrong side of... It's the highs and the lows of betting. These things are going to happen.
That's it.
But besides, it is subjective, and it probably shouldn't be. I stopped taking shots in January. It's like VR in soccer. You can't celebrate a win ever. Props shouldn't be subjective. And you guys have been hanging out with us all year long, and you know that I made that switch as well about halfway through the season. How many times did I talk to you, Eric, about point props? I mean, these shot props it's really tough. The game has changed. When we first started the show, we were getting Nathan McKinnon over 2.5 at like -110. Things have changed. All the shots are juicy. You have to try to find some value. But the point props and the sides have been pretty hot. Chris says, got to be on net. Tough to always tell. Got to be on net, right? I mean, that's the thing. There was a shot the other day from Sam Reinhart as well from the corner. Looked like he shot it from the goal line. It was probably just going to cut it right across the crease. But Swayman put his glove on it, initially counted a shot, and taken away. So it is tough. Again, proceed with caution when it comes to these shot props, but the sides have been pretty good. We've been all over Dallas and all over Florida. As for the officiating, man, the Marchand thing to me really stands out as a missed, I don't know, opportunity to suspend a guy, or like the NHL dropped the ball on that, on the Marchand and Sam Bennett.
It's clear what happened.
It's clear what happened, and I didn't see it at the time. Watching it, didn't see it.
Nobody did.
The reverse angle. And the NHL comes out and says that they didn't see this angle until later. What the heck are they doing in Toronto? You can't tell me you're not seeing multiple angles in Toronto. Even afterwards, they were able to see it, talk about it, and not do anything about it. No suspension. They could have easily had a suspension afterwards. It was a clear uppercut. Sam Bennett gave an uppercut to Brad Marchand, and Marchand wasn't able to play, I'm assuming due to a concussion. Montgomery is not going to answer those questions from reporters, right. And I don't even know if he's going to suit up tonight. So that was bogus. Then we see McDavid get the cross check from behind at the end from Zadorov. He gets fined, and then you get the suspension from Soucy. And I hear people saying, well, it wouldn't have been a cross check to the neck if, he doesn't get the cross check in the back from Zadorov. At the end of the day, it still happened. And that play could have been a hell of a lot worse than what it was. It was a vicious cross check to the neck of McDavid's throat. So, of course, they're going to protect the superstars in the league. A lot of people I'm seeing it. Everyone is ticked off that Sam Bennett is not getting suspended. He had a similar hit to Matthew Nyes last year that knocked him out of that opening or second round as well against the Leafs. No suspension here. Brad Marchand doesn't get the benefit of the call. McDavid does on the other side. So I think that's what you're alluding to when it comes to some of the officiating. I like to see them, put the whistles away and let these guys play. Like when the Rangers won in overtime, I didn't love that call from Carolina. I'd just like to see these guys play. But at the end of the day, too, like I want to also bring up the comment about rivalries. Like a lot of people don't like this new playoff format, EY. But this is what is happening with this playoff format.
That's right.
You are seeing the nastiness between Boston and Florida. These two teams do not like each other. It boils over from last year. You saw a little bit of it in Toronto and Boston in the opening round. Colorado and Dallas may just have rivalries now. Those two teams are loaded. This could be the start of something moving forward for those two squads. They played a couple of years ago, I believe, when the Stars went to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Lightning. They played, I think, in the third or second round, and there was some nastiness there. A nasty hit by Jamie Benn. I thought that was pretty clean, but Taves wasn't able to play last night as well. So there's a lot of nastiness across the board. But what did you make overall of the, I guess, lack of discipline that George Peros and player safety? I just thought that Bennett should have got a game. And it turns out at the end of the day, he was the big reason why they won game 4, right? A little bit of a cross check to Charlie Coyle in the back, bumps him into Swayman. He scores a goal. He's the most hated man in Boston at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I'm not going to pretend to know how it works, but I know. I mean, I think I can recall them suspending people after the fact. I think that's happened in the NHL. Like, it's not called as a penalty, but then they're fined or suspended later, right? Like, that's happening. That precedent has already been set, and I don't understand. Oh, like, we didn't catch it in the time. Okay, it's one thing to not catch it in the moment, and like you said, who has more angles of it than the place that's supposed to have every angle of the game is being recorded? I don't know, and I don't know how we have access to it, can see it, and everyone could clearly see what it is. Like, I love Sam Bennett as a player. I love Marchand as a player. I love them both, but he clearly uppercuts him. It's clearly against the rules, and the penalty was missed. That's one thing. The game's happening very quickly. It's on. The refs are not looking; they're looking from that view. And to me, it looked like a bump. It didn't look like anything. And then the next day, that video comes out from the other side, and it's unbelievable that there's not a suspension. It's just unbelievable. It's kangaroo court, and people have shined the light on Peros a bunch in the past, and I think this is the most disappointing one. That's a suspension for sure.
It doesn't. It's the thing that I don't get is that they actually saw it the next day or whatever, the other angle, and that they still didn't do anything about it. They still deemed it as a quote unquote hockey play. Like, it's just not a hockey play. And the thing, and I thought that should have been goaltender interference. Now I got the reasoning after that goal that Bennett scored, that they didn't feel like it was really goaltender interference, that they couldn't call it a penalty. Like, it had to have been a penalty on the ice, that they couldn't review it and say, hey, that's a penalty from Bennett cross-checking Charlie Coyle. It was a little bit of a bump. They deemed that as a hockey play too. Like, everything is quote unquote a hockey play. So it's really tough to comprehend really some of the decisions that the NHL has made throughout the past couple of days. But anyways, I digress. I think that's a big talking point. I'm really surprised that there was no suspension from Sam Bennett. I'm just really surprised that the NHL said that afterwards, like how they can look at that again from another angle and say, it's all good. But at the end of the day, as we transition into Florida and Boston here, it's not the reason that the Panthers have just been the much better team. Is really no surprise. We put 2 futures in before this round started. Florida sweep, Florida in 5 at plus 500. Hopefully we get that one here tonight. But overall, I mean, the shot attempts at 5-5. Florida's got 214 and Boston has 133. The shots are 102 to 60. These are 5-5 numbers via natural stat trick. The scoring chances are 95 to 54 in favor of the Florida Panthers. And then at all strengths, I mean, it's 304 to 175, the shot attempts. The goals are 16 to 10. The shots are 146 to 79. The scoring chances are 151 to 77. So Florida has doubled Boston when it comes to scoring chances. And even if Marchand plays or doesn't play, I do expect Florida to take care of the Bruins tonight on home ice. Swayman can only do so much. This team is a team that we've liked. Like you said, we liked them last year. We like them this year. They have a perfect balance of speed, skill, and grit. And I said this on Mean Streets before the game that Boston couldn't get into. I know that they're viewed as the big bad Bruins in years past, and what's Patty Maroon going to do? Like, Kachuk's not going to fight Maroon. There's no Lucic on the squad. Boston can't get into this battle with Florida. Like, it's just not working out for them. the scrums after the whistle. I thought they took too many penalties. Like a late hit. Maroon had a late hit on Tkachuk and he put his stick up in his face. Like that's a penalty. There was another play at the end where they just ran Tkachuk. I think it was Lindholm smoked him, interference. That's a penalty. Like Boston is just getting frustrated and they're taking these silly penalties. And that's what Florida does, man. They bait you into this after the whistle stuff. It's just call it cheap shots. I get it. There's cheap shots on both sides. I don't know if that cheap shot comment is on Maroon or whoever. There's Bennett. There's cheap shots all happening all over every series. These things, the refs are not going to be able to catch everything. But at the end of the day, Florida has just owned the Bruins here. Even that first game that they lost, Eric, it was just, I think it was the long rest. The rest they look pretty rusty, especially on special teams.
Yeah. We see that all the time.
Just so much better. They're just so much better than Boston.
Yeah, they're the Hawks mass machine on the eastern side. I mean, New York, I think, is a very good team, but Florida's pressure. I was watching the game in the Dominican Republic and trying to explain it to somebody and talking, and I was like, just every time you see the puck, notice that there's 2 or 3 red jerseys within 5 feet of the puck, basically at all times, and it's just impossible to play against. And the Bruins play this really good structured game, but you don't have time to set that stuff up, right? Like you can't play that way. You got to kind of play with your hair on fire a little bit because they just are relentless. Every shift, every zone, penalty kill, it doesn't matter. They're just all over you if you have the puck. And as a person that plays hockey poorly, like anytime someone's near you, it's just panic, right? It's panic. And these guys, I love watching the Florida Panthers. I would hate playing against them because that's irritating, right? And then the whistle blows and there's a glove in your face and guys are, bringing their stick up and under your neck and just, good God.
Well, you saw how
the truth is it's Boston being Boston Bruins, right? I mean,
yeah,
this is
right.
The last several years them beating Toronto. This is what they did to Toronto. They bully them. They push them around. Boston's not being bullied, but they're being goaded into these calls, and then they go on the power play for Hagee and Reinhart and Barkov, who I think is playing his best playoffs yet, which is saying something. It's just so the playoffs are awesome.
They are awesome, but you're right. They're doing things that the Bruins did in the past, and good on David Pastrnak to fight. But this is what awesome. It's come to. And if you're a Matthew Tkachuk and you're the Florida Panthers, you were sitting in the dressing room and you were saying, you were laughing. You were like, "Are you kidding me? We got David
exactly what I wanted
to fight." Like he is frustrated. He is on the edge. He dropped the gloves. It could have went a lot worse for him. And I get it. I have so much respect for Pasta to do that, to go to the coach, like, listen, Montgomery,
and he got beat up. I don't care what anybody does. It's cool, but he got beat up. That's not what he does.
Right. I'm fighting this guy, and it's no matter. It is what it is. He's all over me. I got to do it. And I'm sure Matthew Tkachuk on the other side has a lot of respect for him as well. But at the end of the day, that is
no
not
doubt
what you want. Your superstar forward dropping the gloves and fighting in this series. So yeah, it's. I think it'll be all over tonight for the Boston Bruins. I'm not even sure the status on Brad Marchand, but like I said, I don't really think it matters. The special teams, the power plays, everything, and just the 5-on-5 zone time that we're seeing from Florida at the end of the day. Bobrovsky's been pretty good as well. Some comments here from Adam Szymanski. I'm as big of a Marchand hater out there, but there's no way that's a natural hockey move by Bennett. He knew what he was doing 100%. Again, this dates back to the previous series as well. Adam also chimes in and says, nobody's talking about McAvoy. Yeah, the hit on Reinhart, blatant interference and attempt to injure him. That was the opening moments of that game, and he didn't even touch the puck. Like Barkov threw it his way in his feet, but he didn't even touch the puck. And I know the broadcast said it was a timely hit. It was borderline, and it was a big hit in the game as well. We'll get into some of this. Would either of you need a diaper if the Hurricanes came back down 3-0? The Hurricanes not going to come back. But we'll see what happens there. If the Bruins go down by a bunch, you can bet that Maroon does something to hurt either Tkachuk or whatever important players on the ice. Sure, I mean, that may happen, but he's going to have to catch that player first. Maroon looks... And these are the things we talked about with Boston. Like, great. They had a great regular season. Fantastic. It surprised the hell out of me that they were able to have that season again without Krejci, without Bergeron, Coyle, and Zach as your number 2, number 1 center. Now Zaka playing third line center. They're just not deep enough. Their big offseason moves were JVR, Maroon, Lucic. Like, these guys are just slow, and they can't keep up at the moment. So it does seem to be all over. They should try. Panthers will wipe the floor with them fighting again. That's the thing, right? I mean, they can play that style. They can play the speed skill style. They can play in your face, drop the gloves. They can play any style that they want. And that's what makes them so dangerous. And that's why we're on them tonight. And that's why we've been on them for a while. So for me tonight, for some bets, I've been taking Florida money line 2 units. It's just too juice now. I think it was minus 155 for game 3 or game 4, and then it got up to minus 177, minus 180. So 2 units on minus 120 over at Bet365. Bet365 is the place to do it. You get the early payout. If they go up by 3 goals, you're going to get paid out no matter what. And that's pretty crazy to me that Bet365 does this. Keep doing it. Okay, we've been burned by shot props enough. Give us the early payout, 365, because no lead is safe in the NHL. Like, for example, if you bet Dallas in 60 or on the money line over at Bet365 for game 1, when they took the 3-0 lead in the opening game of that series, you won. You got paid out, but they did not win the hockey game. Colorado came back and won that hockey game. So again, 365 is the place to be. If you have the luxury of books, they'll get the early payout there. So minus 120, 2-unit play for me. And then I got him on the puck line to win by a couple goals tonight at plus 134. You got a couple goal scorers from this game?
Yeah, I really like Barkov tonight, the captain. Like I said, I think, from the stuff I've seen, and I've seen most of the Florida games, Barkov he's just on another level right now. Matthew Tkachuk, I think, is truly, he's the straw that stirs the drink in Florida. Like, when he's going and he's dictating pace, and even like him on the power play at the top or on the sideboard, like he's just dictating the entire game. It goes as he goes. He wants it to be emotional. It gets emotional. He wants to calm it down. He calms it down. But I got Barkov and Verhaeghe to score tonight on the Florida side. I think Pasta scores tonight regardless. Obviously, fighting Tkachuk, he's a very motivated player. He's played in Boston, his entire career, and I like that. And I think Charlie Coyle has also looked really good too.
He has.
Hasn't really got one to go, but he's skating with purpose. And I think if someone else scores there, it's going to be Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, Coyle's looked really good. He hit a post. I think he has a goal in this series at 5-5. He hit a post. Man, the shot attempts are just it's crazy the difference. Like, the 5-5 shot attempts, Pastrnak leads with 14. He's got 6 shots. Charlie Coyle is next with 11. He's got 5 shots. Hampus Lindholm has 11 attempts. He's got 2 shots. Brandon Carlo, has 10 attempts and he has 7 shots. Like, that is just not gonna get it done. Like, Carlo leads the team in shots at 5-5 in the series with 7.
Yeah, come on.
It's just they just can't find a way to generate much offense. Overall, Pastrnak has 23 attempts and 9 shots, and Coyle has 14 attempts and 7 shots at all strengths. But again, it just can't be. It can't. You're just not going to have success that way. And it's credit to Florida and the way that they're playing. The shot attempts for the Panthers at 5-5 in this series is Anton Lundell leads the way with 20. Verhaeghe also has 20. Gustav Forsling has 19. Sam Reinhart has 15. Brendan Montour 14. Like, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Panthers with double-digit shot attempts at 5-5 in this series. And for the Boston Bruins, there's just 4. And 3 of them are defensemen. And at all strengths, it's Verhaeghe who leads the way with 36 shot attempts. He would be the guy that I would pick for an anytime goal scorer, just given the attempts that he has. He's on that first power play. The way that they whip it around, Matthew Tkachuk does a bunch of different things. He's down lows at the hash marks. He's in front of the net with tips. Reinhart kind of plays in the bumper. And Barkov is really the distributor, and Montour is a lot of rubber from the blue line. But Verhaeghe's on that hot boards too, and he likes to rip it. So I would be looking at him for an anytime goal. I'll be looking at it's the 3 shooters. Verchuk, I just combined them. Verhaeghe, Tkachuk, Reinhart. Verchuk, that'd be a pretty good player, man.
Florida Panthers
and then,
super robot Verchuk.
for Chuck. Man, that guy would be unstoppable. And Barkov is a good call by you, right? I mean, a beautiful goal the other day. He does lead all Florida Panthers forwards in ice time in this series with 81 minutes, and Montour leads the way with 90 minutes. I know shot props have been hit or miss, mostly miss of late with some stat correction stuff. But if there was one guy that I would pick from this game, I probably would lean Verhaeghe. I'd be looking at Verhaeghe. I'd be looking at Kachuk. I'd be looking at Brennan Montour. Over at Bet365, you can just tease these guys down. We did this in game 4, and it worked out. So luckily, we did get that shot off Sam Reinhart's face, by the way. He took a puck off the face for us guys and then left the game. They counted that as a shot. Kachuk, Verhaeghe, and Reinhart. These 3 guys for 3 shots, that pays plus 170 over at Bet365. I think that there's something to be said about maybe taking some guys for assists. Since we think Florida's going to win this game, I'm on them on the puck line, so I think that they're going to get a couple goals here tonight. Just these individual shot props and point props are just too juiced. So maybe like a Barkov assist at minus 120, a Matthew Kachuk assist at minus 110. I think Brennan Montour for a point at plus money is an interesting call. And then you could, if you wanted, it's risky. We got burned by it the other day. It would have worked out for you in game 4, I believe. But Swayman saves, because I just see a lot of rubber again going towards the goal. But if Swayman gets pulled, that's the thing with taking these goalie props. Swayman gets pulled, and your bet is over. And if you ladder it, you're in deeper poo-poo. But we don't even have. I don't know. Do you think Swayman or maybe they go to Linus Ullmark? His numbers actually been pretty remarkable against Boston this year.
Yeah, I think it's probably Ullmark. I mean,
at this point, why not?
Back and forth. They started the playoffs by alternating. Then Swayman had this unreal game. Then they kind of rode him. He's kind of got beaten up, but by 12 goals in the last 2 games. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think I would play Ullmark, just to do something different. Both goalies had basically the same kind of record, same kind of goals against average and save percentage, all that stuff. I think at the start of the year, you probably would have said that Ullmark was the starter. I think Swayman's kind of overtaken that and shown he's, at this point, is the better goalie. But, I mean, he's gotten rocked.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not on him. It's the, you get into the power plays, right? It's the power play stuff.
He's been unreal all playoffs, but I mean, they're a wrecking machine.
Yeah, they really are. And again, Ullmark had some pretty good numbers. I saw that they dropped it on the it was the ESPN broadcast. I think they were talking about it. May have been TNT, but yeah. So 3-2 win against Florida. It was like a couple days. It was like near the end of the regular season. It was like looking like April 6th here. So a 3-2 win. He stopped 28 of 30. There was another game against Florida this year, 3-1 win. He stopped 27 of 28, and then another one 3. So he's actually 3-0 against Boston this season. And the first one he stopped 35 of 37 shots. So he's actually been fantastic against the Bruins this year. So if you're Montgomery, why not? It wouldn't be a knock on Swayman. It's just you trying to find something, to gain some momentum here in the series. Verchuk shot on goal. Yeah. You know what? A shot on goal prop number for Verchuk tonight would probably be like 7.5. And I'd take it. I'd take the over on that one. He's just too good. He'd be too good of a player. Verzis 91, afternoon means EY DBC degenerates. I had Verhaeghe as my favorite shot prop as well. Face off. Go Sharks. Hey, you won the lottery. You won the lottery.
Big win.
Let's go. Celebrini in San Jose. Hey, you got nice cornerstones with him and Will Smith. So you got reasons to be excited there. I got Montour, Tiro, and Bennett each point parlay. So, we'll move on from this game. I think the shot on, I think for me personally, Verhaeghe is like shots, anytime goal. Montour for shots for a point. And then I think, to try to find some value, look at some of these assists, maybe a Matthew Kachuk assist, a Barkov assist. Over at 365, you could do, they correlate. You could go Kachuk and Verhaeghe for a point, minus 110. You can go Barkov and Sam Reinhart for a point. You can get plus 110 for that. So those are the ways, but ultimately, again, the sides were up near 35 units on sides, and props were struggling significantly. So consider maybe some point props. We get Florida on the puck line, Florida in 60. All right, tee us up for Edmonton and Vancouver. What have you seen? I got some things to say about this series too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rough too. And I mean, I think we all thought that that's what was going to happen. It's kind of the same story in Edmonton. Like, can they win with Stuart Skinner as the goalie?
Right.
I mean, he's kind of being outplayed by a goalie that I didn't even know existed.
Third string in Vegas. Not kind of. He is getting outplayed. He is getting outplayed.
He is getting outplayed. This happens sometimes. Like, this guy came in playing Nashville, and I was like, geez. I mean, Nashville has just got a lot of things that kind of break their way this year. The truth is like, development-wise, where they are, they're light years ahead of where the team thought they would be, where the fan base, where I thought they would be. Making into the playoffs at this juncture is a massive win for the Nashville Predators. And then I'm like, no Demko, then no to Smith, and then I can't even pronounce his name. And I'm like, okay, here we go. This is it. And he played great, and he's playing even better against Edmonton. Like, ice in his veins. Two of, if not the two most dangerous players in the NHL shooting on you, and just doesn't have a care in the world. And so I think his only request was Rick Tocchet to install blackout curtains in his apartment. What the hell is going on? There's got to be someone else other than Rick Tocchet that can handle that. But it's wild, man. It's wild. I still believe that Edmonton's going to win this series. I just believe it in my bones and in my heart. They have more experience. They've been in this position how many times over the last 5 years? And I think tonight you're going to see Connor McDavid hit a level that maybe he's never been.
Yeah, you know what? And we saw it in game 2. It was like, to me, and I don't want to come across as cocky or anything like that, but after game 1, when he had 0 shots and it's all anybody was talking about, I just knew in my gut and my heart and my head that he was just gonna pop off in game 2, and that's exactly what he did. I think he had a 4 or 5 point night. He just went off, and I think we'll see something again very similar with how that game ended. I tweeted this out after game 3. Stuart Skinner, it's coughed up 12 goals on 58 shots in this series. 12 goals on 58 shots. It's got a 793 save percentage, and I wondered if it would be. It's pathetic, and I didn't think he was that great in the opening round against LA. Yeah, he got one game with a shutout. He was good. There were some moments. The Kings scored some weird goals, deflections, but he just looked shaky. And that's what he does too. He looks shaky in this series. He's not making the big saves like is happening on the other side. And I wondered if we would see Calvin Pickard between the pipes. I tweeted, should we see Calvin Pickard? Most of the comments were the same, like, yeah, probably, but I'd be shocked to look like Stuart Skinner. I think Calvin Pickard's going to get the start tonight. Daily faceoffs got him as likely, and I'm looking up props right now, and there's Calvin Pickard save props. It sounds like they're going to make the switch, and I think it's the right call. I think so too. Why not? I mean, Skinner, you've seen it now, the sample size, you've seen it this series, last series. Getting outplayed on the other side. Vancouver's up to their third string goalie. So it's going to be third string goalie versus backup goalie here. Maybe Jack Campbell's still in the squad. Who knows? Maybe Pickard's the third string. I'd say Campbell's the third string. But like, again, these are the type of decisions that are tough for coaches to make, but that could be the difference maker for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, maybe it backfires and he's awful tonight and they go down 3-1 in the series, and then they have to go back to Stuart Skinner. But this is the moment to do it. You don't do it when you're facing elimination or anything like that. You're in your own barn. If this is the case, I like it for the Edmonton Oilers. And Pickard's been all right too. So some decent numbers this year. You got goal scorers there. So you're going McDavid. You got McDavid for a hat trick tonight.
I don't know about a hat trick, but I just think it's just going to be an effort. Like, he's just going to find what happens, right? We've seen him do this a couple of times. We saw him do it in the playoffs last year. We saw him do it a couple of times this season, where their back gets up against the wall and he just finds this. I mean, it's not even a sixth gear. It's like a gear that doesn't exist. You know, some kind of futuristic space truck that has 7 gears. I don't know how to say it, but I believe it. I think he could easily have 2 and 2 tonight. I believe he scores goal scoring wise. I would say betting on him to score first would be a really solid bet. I'm probably going to do that as well. I think Zach Hyman scores again. It's such a, I mean, dude, he looks so good on the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, I always like Zach Hyman. He's a good hockey player, but he's a superstar player. He does everything, and he's so good. I'm going back to Brock Besser. He's having an unbelievable playoff run. It's the saying I'm saying. If someone is shooting the puck and the Vancouver Canucks can control who that is, they want it to be Brock Besser. Miller's amazing. Patterson's amazing. Quinn Hughes is an absolute puck moving machine. But when the puck heads towards the net, they want Brock Besser shooting it, and it's showing up right now.
Yeah, 4 shots in the game before. There's a couple players that have actually caught my eye for Vancouver. Brock Besser's one, and Elias Lindholm is another one. Elias Lindholm, at first,
right at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. He, it started off pretty well for him as a member of the Canucks, and then not so great, right? Bumped down to the third line, suffered an injury, missed a little bit of time.
Disappeared.
Disappeared. Seems to be a little bit of chemistry with him and Connor Garland, but I like his placement on the top power play. And in this series in particular, like the last 2 games, 20 minutes he played in both of those games. You look at some of the other games, 18 in game 1 against the Preds, 16 minutes, 17 minutes against the Preds, 18, kind of living in that 16 to 18 minute range. And then boom, like these last 2 games, 20 plus minutes. So he's got 3 goals in the series in the 3 games. He's got 4 points. He's got 5 goals and 7 points in the series as well. He's been plus money to pick up a point. His shot prop, like every other shot prop, is juiced. If you could believe it, we've got Draisaitl 2.5 for the first 4 or 5 games of the playoffs, and now he's at 3.5. Hyman is at 3.5 and juiced. Bouchard, we've been hammering at 2.5. It was minus 160 the other day. It was a tough pill to swallow. I took it. Luckily, we got it. But tonight he's at minus 180. So it's really tough to find any value for a shot prop. So that's why I'm thinking that this series has been high scoring. I like the over 6 again, 6.5. I think we're going to continue to see goals. I don't care. Like, I care that it's Pickard, and that's great. But at the end of the day, I still think that there's going to be some offense in this series. Lindholm is minus 175 for 2 shots. Again, it's really tough, but he does have 8 shots in the 3 games. He's had at least 3 shots in 3 of his past 4, 5, 5, 0, and 3. It's just tough to get behind the minus 175. But the point at plus 105, the power play point at plus 400. You get 2 power play goals, right? I mean, we have to try to find value elsewhere with some of these props, and I think that's the way to do it. Find somebody who's on that first power play unit, like a Montour plus money for a point, like Elias Lindholm plus money for a point. 4-1 for a power play point is pretty good. Vancouver's, their power play is not operating at the same clip as Edmonton's. But Vancouver's still scoring goals, like you mentioned, Brock Besser. Like, they're still getting it done on the power play. So there's a couple others that I put in the tracker. I got Leon Draisaitl for 2 points at plus money again. It was plus 175 a couple days ago, but now he's playing pretty good. He's getting those points, but there's still a little bit of value. Like Connor McDavid is minus 175 for 2 points. Draisaitl's plus 100. Brock Besser's minus 150 at DraftKings for it's like alternate points. For whatever reason, they're hanging minus 160 for Brock Besser to get a point. But if you look at alternate stuff, I don't know why, but you can get a better number there. So minus 150. Quinn Hughes is minus 160 for a point. We've been taking the minus 150s, but minus 160 is kind of like the cutoff. I'm fine with it, but minus 130 for the assist is probably a better play. If the point happens, it most likely will be via the assist. And then I have a same game parlay with Hyman, Draisaitl, and Bouchard, all 3 shots at plus 175 over at Bet365. So Oilers win tonight, even up the series.
Yep.
If not, we need to start talking about the Canucks. I know we've done that all year. Like, we've just brushed them off. Like, they keep winning. They keep scoring all these goals. Your only team with a double-digit shooting percentage of 5-5, PDO, lucky, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's having a career year. But the fact that they have 6 wins in these playoffs and won with Thatcher Demko. They're down to their third string goalie, and
impressive coaching.
Nobody
and impressive resilience by the team.
100%. And they have owned Edmonton all year long. We just keep not believing in them. I don't know about you, but I didn't think twice about Vancouver to win this series. I was like, Edmonton series spread, win by a couple games, 2 units on Edmonton to win the series. It's going to get it done. I still don't like watching Edmonton and Vancouver makes me feel a lot better about Dallas, about them going on a legitimate run here. They are just so deep. And I know Colorado with Nichushkin and Devon Taves, those are big blows to their squads, but Colorado didn't even get shot attempts last night until the game felt like it was over. And you mentioned Wyatt Johnson. Wyatt Johnson set a franchise record for goals by a 20-year-old kid. Yeah, under 21. He passed last night.
Brian Bellows and Madonna.
And Mike Modano. And the craziest thing about Wyatt Johnson is, and I know a lot of people are sick of talking. I get some people are always joking.
Everyone's talking about him. If you don't want to hear about it, then you don't want to know about the NHL. Tough shit.
And we talked about him last year. I know that Hintz and Robertson were the ones getting all the attention on their run in the Western Conference Finals, and Hintz was like over a point per game and all that stuff. But Wyatt Johnson was their best player, I thought. Like, he was the guy that was first in expected goals at 5-5, and that it's carrying over to this year. The fact that he's bumped on that first power play, scored a power play goal last night, scored a shorthanded goal last night as a 20-year-old kid, leads the Stars in goals, and he is. You say this all the time. Like, I know you brought it up a bunch and I tweeted it, like he can't even buy a drink at Applebee's, and now he can. He is not even into his grown man body yet. So he's going to get stronger. And
he's considered small.
Right.
Like, he's not fully developed man strength. Like, there's still lots of jars out there that he can't open. And he is considered he is considered smaller. You know what I'm talking about. You get a certain age, there's just no jar. Yeah. There's no jar on earth. It could have been in your grandmother's cellar for 4 decades. I can still open it. It has nothing to do with my arm size or my shoulder size. It's the fact that I'm 44 and I just know things that you don't. Wyatt, I can't wait till you get there, buddy.
That's hilarious. Skinner's rattled. Pickard. It sounds like Pickard, anyways. Okay, so we're gonna get out of here. I will say that Wyatt Johnson, I think as a show, I know at FTN as a family, we're all in on Dallas and Florida futures. Did give an Igor Shesterkin 21-1 future at FanDuel is a little bit of a hedge bet. I don't know about going all in on Dallas, may not be ideal, but 12-1 at FanDuel for Wyatt Johnson to win the Conn Smythe, you may not get a better number moving forward. It's probably the time to do it if you want to. There's still a lot of hockey left to be played. Of course, the 3rd round and the 4th round. Jake Ottinger is now the favorite, I think, behind Igor Shesterkin, and he's looked really good. But Wyatt Johnson's going to be in the running if the Dallas Stars win the Stanley Cup, and it may be a good opportunity to jump on that now. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll dive into the rest of the games. We could only have 2 series to talk about. We'll see what the Rangers do tomorrow, and we'll see what the Boston or the Florida Panthers do tonight. But we can look at things see if there's any value, tee up the next series if we have the matchups, and we'll take a look at the Conn Smythe stuff as well. But appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with us. I know it's been a minute since we've been with you guys, but always fun to dive into everything here. I mean, Pettersson.
I needed this.
Yeah. Pettersson didn't even shoot. I mean, he's been quiet, but you know what? We don't want to. We're not trying to come across as know-it-alls here. But one thing we did say about Vancouver, for me, I don't want to speak for you, Eric, but one thing I said about Vancouver was that it was hard for me to take them serious, especially Pettersson playing with Mikheyev and Niels Höglander or whoever the hell else they put up on that top line the other night. Like, his wingers are playing 8-10 minutes a night.
I like those players, but that's not a top line.
It's not a top line. The Besser one, clearly, like there's obviously chemistry with Besser and Miller, and Lindholm and Garland are playing really good. But yeah, I think that's part of why Pettersson has looked very quiet in these playoffs. His wingers are not great. They're not good enough. But I thought we would see Lindholm maybe on that top line, but Lindholm's been playing good on the third line with Garland. But any other final words here, brother, before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, man. I just wanted to say, thank you for being patient with me and taking the reins. I've been kind of missing in action and some real heavy real world stuff. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. Everyone's kind of been asking. I'll release something on social media. There's nothing for anyone to worry about. I'm fine. The world will go on, but that's why I've been absent. I've been dealing with some pretty wild stuff. And thank you guys for being patient and supporting the show. And Chris is the master, and he's been doing them all. So he's doing the heavy lifting. But I was really happy to be back. There's such a cool community, and concentrate on hockey and kind of forget about the other stuff for a little bit.
We love you, brother. You know that I think the world of you. I know a lot of people love you as well. There was some comments in our Discord this week about you jumping in our Discord at FTN. So maybe we have to get you in there.
I'm definitely going to do it.
A lot of.
Let's get it done by next week.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about you, and they care for you, and they're big wrestling and hockey fans, and they love everything that you have to offer in the show. So we love you right back, buddy. Favorite 2 goal scorers for tonight from EY, a little 2-leg parlay. Let's just go 2 goal scorers.
McDavid and Barkov.
McDavid and Barkov. For me, it will be for Haggy, and I'll go with Evan Bouchard, a clapper from the point. Well, Evan Bouchard. Oilers roll tonight. I don't even mind puck luck, but I like the over, and give me the Florida Panthers in 60 and on the puck line as well. And I do have a lean to the under in that one. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Good luck on the ice. Let's try to turn this thing around. Cheers.